GM, what are great questions to ask an employer to gauge culture? Okay, first thing is you want to make sure there's a couple of different ways to break this down. The first thing is make sure that you know the culture you want, meaning what are the specific adjectives that would collectively, right, the collective behavior, right, I gave you the definition, that would be a great environment for you. Now, what a lot of job seekers do is they become highly sensitive to the recency bias, and they overcompensate on things that just occurred with them. If you had a boss who was a micromanager who was not very kind to you and was on you all the time, you go all the other way and you become more sensitive to how your prospective boss is going to manage you. And what I want you to do is that in and of itself is important, but it is no more or less important than all the other things that you deem important. Like, I want to work in an energetic environment. I want to make sure that I'm appreciated. I want to make sure that I have the right challenges, and so on. I want to make sure it's a meritocracy, right? I want it fast-paced. I want it slower-paced. I want it more organized. I want it more mature. I want it more entrepreneurial. I want it, right? All of these things that and it's like your personality. So you need to get all that in order. Make sure you're evaluating it all equally. And when you go into, okay, so that's the first thing, getting yourself in order. The second thing is when you go into the interviews, you want to make sure that you are asking the cultural questions in all interviews, meaning like the HR person, how would you describe your culture? What adjectives would you use, right? There are other indirect ways of getting at it. What types of skills, do your best employees have in general? Traits, what type of traits? You're asking a general question for something specific that's applied universally or on the team or whatever. Now, the traits that they start to give you will be indicators of the cultural characteristics they're looking for. Somebody who's just willing to figure it out. Somebody who's, who will go to whatever length. Somebody who is tenacious. Somebody, right? Like, you'll start to get that. Okay, now you're just getting the characteristics. Now, just because I said so doesn't make it so. If you ask me, well, Andy, how would you describe your environment? And I said, oh, milewalk's fun-loving. I totally appreciate everybody. We work well together. We like to work hard and play hard and this and that and blah, blah, buzzword this and buzzword that. And it's just like white noise. Okay, now, I may believe that. I'm not trying to lie to you, right? I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're not trying to lie to you. Right, except that what? That doesn't tell you anything. That tells you what I think our culture is. What you need is evidence of the fact, which means what? You need to ask another question. Oh, so you work hard and play hard. What do you mean by that? That's one route you can go. Or you could say somebody asked me about collaboration. Here's a great example. Let's say you want to work in a collaborative environment, okay? So you're going to come to me and you're going to say, Andy, is milewalk a collaborative environment? And I'm going to say, oh, yeah, you know what, Gia, these, we love each other. We totally collaborate every day. We talk every day. We meet every Friday for pizza. And we have, we go around the table. We brainstorm ideas. Okay. That didn't tell you anything about whether we're collaborative or not. If every Friday we get together as a team and we throw ideas out there, but essentially everybody just always does whatever I want them to, right? That's not collaborative, right? That's nothing. That's me just constantly directing. So what do you need? How would we describe collaborative in your terms? I think collaborative is you are going to show me that you're collaborative if you're truly taking ideas from your team and you're giving things a try, maybe even if you don't love it. So, hey, Andy, that sounds great, but, I think of a collaborative environment as, you're trying new things, new ideas, or you're trying variations of ideas. When was the last time you got together with your team, they came up with an idea that you didn't absolutely love, but you let them give it a try and then stop? Now I have to come up with an example for you. What is this? Andy calls it the reverse behavioral interviewing technique, right? They give it to you, you stick it back to them. Because I didn't give you any evidence that I'm actually collaborative. So all I did was I told you I thought we were collaborative because of some symptoms that somebody could use to misconstrue that we're collaborative, right? So I need to be able to come up with evidence. You want to know if your boss is a micromanager? How are you going to ask that question? Hey, Andy, it's really important to me that I work with a boss who's supportive, but gives me some autonomy. And, I like structure, but I also like to, kind of run with things. All right, so now he doesn't know what you need. Could you tell me, how do you like to work with your staff? Right? Like how do you engage with your staff? Warm them up, give them a softball, let them start talking. How would that change if it was your most experienced person? What about your least experienced person? Now you need that person to tell you exactly using examples of how they behave. That's how you ask questions to elicit an employer's cultural behavior. By the way, if you are in the job search coaching program, there is a session on just this and how to package your questions, what questions. I go through a number of examples, collaborative, micromanagement, work-life balance, you name it. Those questions you want to ask, but you're afraid of incriminating yourself kind of thing, right? Who knows whereof I speak, right? Like you're really concerned about whether that's, whether you're going to stick your foot in your mouth. But Gia, that's a great question. And, I hope that helps. Remember, you are looking for evidence of the fact. So you know how I say, well, when you're a job seeker, right, you want to take them into the future because you want them to see how you'll operate in their environment. I'm hiring you, okay? And you want them in the future, all right? You, as a job seeker, need to do what? You need to understand where they're going in the future, if they're committed to it, and so on. But how do you determine that? If I say to you, I'm committed, that doesn't mean I'm actually committed, right? You don't have proof. So you say, Andy, this is great. I'm Gia. I'm going to join your team. I want to make sure, because Andy, I'm experienced, and I know we're going to hit a lot of challenges that you haven't hit yet. But since I've built these kind of things before, I know there's a 7-step process, and step 3 is a real killer, okay? We're going to encounter a lot of issues, especially because of the way your company's set up right now. Okay, great. You want to know what I'm going to do when we get to step 3. You got to figure it out if I'm committed or if you're going to be out of a job because I'm going to cut all the funding or whatever. So, Andy, you know what? You're going to face this, and this when you get to step 3. That's pretty big. It's going to take us a while to figure out. It's going to take some resources and so on and so forth. Because I'm G and I'm smart and I know this. I've been through this. When was the last time you faced something like that? What did you do? How did that go? What would you have done differently? And I would go and go and go like a dog with a bone. And you all might be thinking, oh my God, Andy, I can't ask these questions. Yes, you need to be asking these questions. And by the way, you don't need to use the tone I'm using, right? I saw somebody who said 93% of communication was nonverbal. That's true if you follow Albert Mehrabian's personal code of communication, right? 7% is what? The words, right? 38% is the tone and 55% is the body language. So 38 and 55 is where he got 93, right? So I could say, hey, look, I want to make sure I understand, are we committed to this? Well, what happened last time? You know what, Gia, last time we got into this, we had a similar issue, something on the same order of magnitude. So here's what we needed to do. Went out, we got more resources. We actually elongated the time because we felt it was better to delay it a month. Okay, fine. I like it. Right? Like you get them talking about examples. Right? You need evidence of the fact. And the only way you're going to get evidence is what? You got 2 forms of it. All right? You got what does the future look like, and let me see your plan and why you think that's the case, and then you evaluate their rationale to see if it's sound. If you think that's what it's going to take. I was coaching a guy, Q&A guy, was going to run and build a new unit. Right? Hey, I think it's going to take 10 people. You think it's going to take 2 people? I can't take this job, right? Why do you think that? Can I show you that you're going to have to hire 8 more people? Right, kind of thing. That's going that way. And then if you go backwards and you say, okay, what did you do last time you faced something like this? Those are your two spots where you get evidence of the fact, or you get evidence of the fact one way, but the other way you can get at least they know what they're getting into. And that's equally as good. Equally as good. All right, folks, I have got to get running.